The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Great Falls Fire Department, Montana, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 39115. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation. Starting first, just under the front bumper, you'll find 2 open-ended tow hooks on the driver and passenger side. Moving up to the face of the front bumper, dual air horns on the driver and passenger side. Located directly in the center, your electronic siren and PA speaker. Moving up onto the bumper extension, a D handle will gain you access into the hose storage location. Moving out to the driver's side, on the top, you'll find a mechanical siren. Moving now to the cab face, on the outer edge, a marker turn indicator light, headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. High beam is located on the inside. Directly above that cluster is an emergency warning light cluster. There are 3 windshield wipers across the seamless one-piece windshield. As we move to the A pillar, you'll find the mirror housing a flat and convex mirror. Moving up to the brow of the apparatus, you'll find 5 identification clearance lights, and located recessed into the front cab, you'll find a forward-facing floodlight. Moving up onto the roof of the cab is where you'll find your emergency warning lights on each side. We'll go ahead and take a look at some close-ups of the items we just talked about, first starting with the bumper extension. Additionally, there are side-facing emergency warning lights on the side of the bumper extension. D handle on top gains you access into the discharge, which is foam capable. Inside the compartment, you'll find dry deck material and also a swivel discharge. Let's take a quick look up at the very top section. We have a master stream nozzle. Also, you'll have a 2.5 inch located on the driver's side, and then also additional lighting on the very tip of the aerial ladder. Additionally, you do have the ability to reduce the nozzle position from the tip to a lower section on the fly section by that handle. Please see the owner's manual for its operation. General view here of the apparatus on the driver's side. We'll start now with the cab section, first starting with your front axle. Visual sight gauge into the center of the axle area. As we move now to the front section of the cab, you'll find the drain for the front discharge. As we move up onto the side of the bumper extension, this is the side-facing emergency warning light. Moving now inside to the stepwell area is where you'll find an air inlet. As we move up onto the cab, you'll find a marker turn indicator light. Easily accessible with gloved hands, these are your door latch and lock combination. They are keyed. Right next to it is the grab handle for remaining 3 points of contact while entering and exiting the cab. Just to the right of the main driver door is where you'll find your auto eject shoreline inlet and also an indicator. Emergency warning light directly over the front axle, and as we move directly above that location, you'll find a side-facing scene light. Let's move to the midsection. We'll come back to this area and talk about the pump in its entirety in just a few moments. Let's continue now to the rear portion of the body where you'll find the stabilizer located just in front of the rear axle. You'll also find folding wheel chock storage located just to the rear of the axle for 2 wheel chocks. Marker turn indicator light just in front of the rear axle. There are 2 lower zone emergency warning lights located in this area. Moving up to the very top, this is a side-facing camera. And then also to the very rear, this is an emergency warning light. Moving now to the rear of the apparatus, you'll find on the outer edge a marker turn indicator arm. Also, as we move through, brake, turn, and reverse light, just inside that location is an emergency warning light rear facing. As we move upward onto the body section, you'll find a cupped switch on both right and left sides. We'll go over the details in those in just a few moments. In addition, with rear-facing scene lights located in the upper portion of the rear body. On the very top section, you'll find emergency warning lights. Moving toward the top center area is where you'll find your backup camera located just on top of the traffic advisor. Moving downward to the very base of the truck is where you'll find your aerial inlet. It's the Pierce logo American flag eagle. Moving now to the side of the vehicle, you'll find your exhaust located on this side, and we'll come back about that. And just a close-up here of the body section. For the most part, same configuration and layout. Let's go ahead and go back into the cab section now. We'll start on the driver's side. As we move into the cab area, affixed to the door panel are safety and warning placard information. Just below that, you'll find your air inlet in the step wheel area. As we move back to the door panel, you'll find door lock and latch combination, electric window controls, and a grab handle. Moving inside to the base of the floor, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the manufacturer, date May 2023, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle, weight rating, cold tire inflation, the VIN number, fluid capacities for each component, fluid capacity, and also fluid type. As you move to the floorboard, you'll find a foot pedal for your mechanical siren. And as you move up to about the left knee of the operator, you'll find the master battery switch quarter turn. This is also the location for your maintenance team for the tech module, engine, transmission, ABS, and diagnostic port and display port. Some switches down in the very bottom. First, ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, engine diagnostics indicator, and also a regen inhibit. Aerial master, aerial PTO, front scene, driver's side scene, passenger side scene, and rear scene. When any of these lights have been activated at the switch, the light in the switch will illuminate green, indicating that it's on. Moving just to the opposite side of the steering column, you'll find an indicator OK to pump stationary, water pump, foam system, and high temp hydraulic PTO low PSI indicator. Moving up to the right, you'll find the flat mirror and convex mirror control. As we move to the dash, starting on the left-hand side, you'll find your four-way flashers, start and ignition switch. Just inside that location, a switch labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master. This will engage and disengage all emergency lights with one switch. Also, just inside that is your headlight switch and panel switch. The panel switch allows you to brighten and dim lights within the preview of the operator. To the right on side of the steering column is where you'll find the OK to engage your high idle switch and also indicator. To the left of the gauges here, you're going to find the transmission, oil, def, and water temp. On the right, volts, fuel, front and rear air, tachometer, and speedometer are going to be located directly in the center. We do have diagnostic information, which will display via tally lights above and below, and also the information screen below the speedometer and tachometer. As we move just a general view here to the right of the operator's seat, let's focus in on the command zone. Tremendous amount of information right here at your fingertips. See the owner's manual for more information. It is a touchscreen and also function button. We do have an engine brake on and off, a setting switch for that engine brake for low, medium, and high, front wheel lock, and mirror heat. Just down from that location, we'll find the pull to apply or system parking brake and push to release. This is the spring brake in the rear. To the right, your Allison transmission pad, push button, digital readout, informational note here to pump in neutral. Also, you may check fluid by pressing the plus and minus together simultaneously. That will display in the display. To clear that, just push the neutral button. Also to the right, you'll find caution and warning information regarding utilizing your retarder. Heat, air conditioning, and defrost are located in the very right side to the driver, along with a pump pressure digital readout. Moving further to the right in the same area is where you'll find the siren brake and then also 12-volt access via USB. As we move also, you'll find these additional warning placards throughout the vehicle. Please do not remove these. These are for your maintenance team. They have the option and wire information behind the panel. As we look overhead of the operator, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the height of the vehicle, 11 feet 8 inches, length of the vehicle, 39 feet 2 inches, and a gross vehicle weight rating of 57,500 pounds. If you make any alterations to your vehicle that may affect this information, please update this placard for your operators. To the right, we'll find some switches here. First, emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. Just to the right of this location, additional switches for high beam flash, the activation for the stabilizer camera, air horn, siren brake, which is for your mechanical siren, and load manager. Just to the right, you'll find your traffic advisor. As we move further to the right in the same plane, we'll find the siren control and PA speaker system. Directly overhead in between the driver and officer seat, you'll find this red light indicating if flashing you have a compartment door or something ajar. Please do not move the apparatus. Air conditioning. As we move from this location to the rear, you'll find two forward-facing seats that do house SCBA brackets. Directly behind the seat, you'll find your battery charger. When plugged into Shoreline power, this will be active. This is the Shoreline inlet. It is an auto eject. When plugged in, it will display battery voltage indication. Also right next to it is that emergency warning light. As we move to the very bottom, you'll find your Goodyear tire Alcoa wheel and once again a visual sight gauge into that axle. Let's move now to the rear portion of the cab area. We'll go inside, but first let's start with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, electric window control, and a grab handle. Overhead, you'll find push on and off white and red lens lights, and then also your air conditioning unit. Two rear-facing seats are located here also, one on the passenger and driver's side. Those do house SCBA brackets. As we move in between the two of those seats is where you'll find the access for your oil and transmission daily checks. Moving now, another image here of the rear portion of the cab wall. Let's move exterior now to the outside of the rear cab. This is the location for your DEF fill. It is a 7.3 gallon DEF tank, and it is the blue cap. We are on the driver's side. As we move now into the pump area, we'll start first at the very top section. These are your crosslays located here. You do have backboard storage and then also an upper crosslay. Down at the very bottom, we have two crosslays in the lower portion and a release mechanism, just a warning regarding entanglement hazard. As we move to the notch area of the pump panel, start here with the discharges. There are two 2.5-inch discharges located here, locally controlled via ball valve. Just inside that location, pressure hazard warning, caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. As we move to the large diameter inlet, this is the Pierce logo American flag eagle. This is your main pump inlet. Moving just to the right, you'll find a warning regarding fall hazard. When climbing onto the vehicle, always face the vehicle, same with climbing off. And also a warning regarding foam failure. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. Just down for that is the draft tank foam lever and input. At the very bottom section, you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains, along with a 2.5-inch driver's side auxiliary inlet locally controlled via ball valve female coupling. The step does fold outward. It is tied to the do not move your apparatus vehicle. As we move now into the pump area, if you've engaged your pump properly from inside the cab, when you come out, this light should be indicating OK to pump. As we move to the left, you'll find the minimum operation maintenance schedule placard, which we'll go over in just a few moments. And then just below that, a warning, only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and that's only after proper training. As we move into the gray module, this is the master intake and master discharge. In between the two of the master intake and master discharge are the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. These are currently plugged and are utilized for testing purposes. As we move further to the right, you'll find a tally light for PCM fault along with an audible speaker. The outer edge of that speaker does rotate, allowing you to dampen or brighten the sound. Also some additional tally lights here regarding hydraulic PTO high temp, and then also low temp, or low PSI, correction. As we move to the left, you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharges, front discharge, number 1, number 2, and the 2.5-inch crosslay, all foam capable. To the right is the fire pump primer, push to prime air, 1000 RPM for best practices. Right next to that is your pressure throttle governor, and we do have an LED water tank level in the throttle governor. This is your Husky foam system module, which is red, and right next to that is the foam tank A indicator for the amount of foam in your foam tank. Tank fill, recirculating line, and tank to pump are just down below. As we move to the right, your vehicle is equipped with the Husky 3 foam system. This is the specifications and operating instructions. There are 2 electric valves located on the vehicle. They're on the passenger side, number 2, and also large diameter. To the right, you'll find your aerial discharge. As we move further down on the panel, just a danger placard indicating electrocution hazard. The vehicle is not insulated along with the ladder. Across the very bottom section, color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move into that pan door in the lower corner, you'll find this instructions here regarding horizontal position for operation and vertical for fill operation. It matches the image on the sticker along with the yellow handle. At the bottom, this is your emergency pump override. It is a protected switch with an indicator when you've activated. Let's move down to the very bottom where you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. From this location, as we move to the vertical wall, you'll find some switches here indicating driver, passenger side scene, and rear scene lights. Back to the minimum operation maintenance schedule for test pressures at 150, 200, and 250 psi, associated GPM, located on the left-hand side of the placard, and associated RPM for that test pressure on the right. While in pump, you do have a governed speed of 2050. Moving down, this shows the step pulled outward and also folded out. This is also tied to the do not move your apparatus. Let's go ahead and move inside some of the compartments now. As we move into this compartment, we have a tool storage location in the lower section, adjustable shelf, LED lighting. Moving to the exterior, you'll find an additional warning here regarding crush injury because of the movement of that stabilizer. Also right next to it, a danger placard indicating electrocution hazard. The apparatus is not insulated. There are 4 SCBA bottle storage locations here, 2 on front and 2 to the rear. And then as we move to the very top section, you'll find an emergency warning light. This is the fill location for your ultra low sulfur diesel. This is the silver cap. Let's go ahead and take a look at the warning placards once again. Once again, crush injury because of the movement. What I'd like to also point out is the electrocution hazard, indicating the equipment is not insulated. Let's go ahead and move down to the rear portion where you'll find SCBA bottle storage. 2 bottles located just in front of the axle. As we move downward, we have a single axle here, Goodyear tire, Alcoa wheel. And then back up to the rear portion here where you'll find that additional SCBA storage and then also the fill location for your diesel tank. Let's go ahead and move to the rear portion of the body. As we look into this compartment, a pull-out tray on the lower portion and an adjustable shelf. Folding wheel chocks just underneath. The release mechanism for that tray is located on the lower right-hand side. As we move into the step area for gaining access to the aerial device, you'll find an indicator here. This is the hydraulic level. Right next to it, you'll also find an inclinometer. This is for front to back. Now all compartment doors open, just taking a quick look inside. Let's go ahead and move now to the rear of the apparatus. Starting up at the very top section, we do have a warning placard indicating here entanglement hazard, and that's because of the line coming from aloft. Ladder storage on the left-hand side or driver's side of the vehicle. Also, you'll find on this side, this is your driver's side stabilizer control and also rear stabilizer control. Just as a reminder, you need 4 green indicators that the ladder has been elevated for stabilizer control on the left-hand side. We'll talk about the right-hand side in just a few moments. At the very top section, backup camera, traffic advisor, and also additional storage in the very center. I'd like to point out a couple more warning here regarding fall. Never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion, and then also when climbing on or off the vehicle, please face the vehicle. As we move to the very bottom section compartment here, this is for all of your overrides. They are color-coded on the left-hand side that control your stabilizers. As we move to the right, you'll find the gray, which controls the aerial device, and in the very center, in the black, is going to be your diverter. As we move further down, I would like to point out some danger and warning information placards. First, because of the high pressure within this area, we have a danger placard. Also a warning, because you're in this compartment, you very well might be in the process of short jacking. At the very bottom, you'll find the aerial inlet. We have that as the Pierce logo, American flag eagle, and there is also an aerial inlet gauge. Just down below that, a pressure warning hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Also inside the door areas where you'll find the drain valve. It's a ball valve, 1.5 inches, and then also inclinometer left to right. This is the location for the drain for the aerial device. Moving back up to the very top, once again, hose storage location. So we have a warning indicator for that. Also danger electrocution hazard. As we move further down on the panel, you'll also find warning for crush injury hazard, and then just inside the panel here, you'll find a stop-start switch, also emergency hydraulic power, level assist, passenger side stabilizer control, and then also rear stabilizer control. Just as a reminder, 4 green indicators are best for placement of your stabilizers. As we move down to the opposite side, we have hose bed lights in the cupped switch, and then also scene lights on the other switch. As we move around to the passenger side of the vehicle, adjustable shelf and also a pull-out tray in the bottom. That release is located on the right lower portion of that tray. It will lock into position. As we move into the next compartments, we have a tool bar in the upper portion. D-handle gains you access into this. To the rear portion of the tool board, there is a lock on the rear hinge side that you'll be required to push in and unlock to stow that tool board. SCBA bottle storage to the rear of the axle for 2. As we move to the wheel, again, Goodyear tire Alcoa wheel. Moving back up onto the body itself, 2 additional SCBA bottle storage locations in front of the rear axle. As we move up to the stabilizer, we do have some warning information again regarding crush injury hazard and also electrocution hazard. Once again, the equipment is not insulated. As we move down to the very base area, this is where you'll find the stabilizer pads, and then also a quick warning here regarding extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist, especially during regen operation. Please be cautious where you park your vehicle. Into the next compartment, adjustable shelf and a pull-out tray in the lower portion. And we'll move now into the area where the pump panel is, or the notch area. Moving up to the crosslay area next, we'll start at the very top section where you'll find the same configuration and layout as you have on the driver's side. In the upper portion is the backboard storage and then upper crosslay. Moving to the lower portion, this is your lower crosslay with 2 additional crosslays here. Warning placard indicating entanglement hazard. As we move down to the pump panel notch, you'll find your large diameter passenger side inlet. It's the Pierce logo, American flag eagle. Also the location for your cab lift. There are instructions to raise and lower. Also some caution and danger information because of the movement of that cab. This is the electric valve, which is a 2.5-inch discharge on the passenger side. And because it's electric, we do have to have an override for that in case of some sort of electrical failure. Also a warning here regarding pressure hazard. Caps, once again, may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. As we move down to the lower left, you'll find the passenger side auxiliary inlet. This is a 2.5 locally controlled ball valve female inlet. Color-coded and labeled discharge drains across the very bottom section. As you move up into the upper right corner, you'll find the large diameter passenger side discharge. This is also an electric valve, therefore requiring an override. As we move down to the very bottom, you'll find the step, which does fold outward. Once again, this is tied to the do not move your apparatus if it has been deployed. We're now into the rear portion of the cab area. Let's first start with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, electric window, grab handle, and a combination door lock and latch. Overhead, as we previously mentioned, push on and off white or red lens lights. Your headset system, 2 forward-facing and 2 rear-facing seats. As we move now back to the exterior, Goodyear tire, Alcoa wheel, and then that visual sight gauge indicator in that front axle. As we move now into the officer space, let's start with the door panel here. And once again, affixed to the door panel are safety and warning placard information, door lock, latch, electric window control, and also a grab handle. Just now looking into the cab area, if we look to the floor area to the left of the officer seat, you'll find a foot pedal here that controls the mechanical siren activation. You'll also find this vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system, an airbag, and so that's why we have a warning placard here indicating of mounting of any equipment or specialty needs. Just to the right, you'll find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. That's just right on the A pillar. Overhead into the officer space, we have a blank cover on the very far right, and then also some switch panels here. We have a front scene light switch, and then any future switches that are necessary. Moving to the left, we have a FireCom module. As we move underneath, you'll find the FireCom wireless base. And then moving overhead, you'll find your pull cord for your air horn, push on and off red or white lens, and your air conditioning unit. Full view of the exterior with compartments open. Let's go ahead and go up onto the pedestal area. First, at the base of the ladder, we do have a short step here. Also contained in this area is a storage compartment. General view here of the pedestal. This is on the driver's side. And as we move into the pedestal itself, let's move to the forward position of the pedestal where you'll find your intercom. This is a push to talk. It has volume control on the speaker. As we move to the actual underneath the pedestal area, you'll find your emergency stop. This is in the control area. An aerial speed for either normal or fast operation. And then also in an emergency situation, emergency hydraulic power. Also some lighting here for the tip lights and rung lights. You also have a command zone located here, which is a touch screen and also function button. Tremendous amount of information, once again, at your fingertips. Please see the owner's manual. Nozzle control, deploy right left stream, raise lower, and also fog straight stream, and then ladder control for extend retract, right left, lower, raise. We do have on the cover some additional information here regarding crush injury hazard because of the rotation and movement of the aerial device. So we have that placard. Also some generalized warning information here and also danger information placards. Please refresh yourself with those. To the left side on the bottom of the cover section, you'll find the Ascendant 107 Waterway Dry with a 35-mile-an-hour wind condition load chart. Also just below that, you'll see the water charged at 35 mile an hour, and then also nozzle reaction here located in the very bottom section for nozzle positions. You do have some asterisk information here for vehicles in the freezing area. Please refresh yourself with that. And then also the Ascendant 107. This is the specifications per NFPA 1911. Additional warning here regarding fault restraint required, and then also be cautious of pinch hazards because of the movement of the aerial device when any person is occupying the ladder itself. We do have a 4-section ladder. On the outside, we have a 14-foot roof, and on the opposite side, we have a 16-foot roof. Let's go ahead and move out to the tip of the ladder. As we look just straight downward, you'll see a crush injury warning. You'll also find the ability to pin the ladder, or nozzle I should say, in a different position than just at the tip. This is the mechanism that allows that to happen. Dependent upon the location of this device, depends on where the ladder nozzle position is stowed. Please see the owner's manual for its operation and follow that closely. As we move now to the right side, you're going to find the speaker. It is also passive. And then as we now look to the dunnage area for your hose storage location, just a reminder that that aerial ladder does come down into this area, so there is the possibility of crush hazard. In the forward section bulkhead is where you'll find the water fill location. It's also the same location you're going to find your foam tank A. Do have a reminder here not to mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. As we move into the dunnage area, this is the Husky 3 reservoir located on the left-hand side. We do have a foam hydraulic oil reservoir located here with the fill location. As we move to the forward cab section, you'll find a few warnings here regarding non-walking surface and slippery. Moving from this location back to the dunnage area, just a general view. And then from this point, we're going to go outside and take a look. We've got a few images here with these stabilizer pads and stabilizers deployed. And then we'll go ahead and take a look at the full truck with the cab tilted, and we'll go into the engine area and chassis next. First with a couple images under the front section of the vehicle. As we're in the process of elevating the cab to its full position, once the cab has been elevated to the full position upright, please place the safety bar into position. Do not lower the cab onto the safety bar. Maintain equal right and left cab cylinder pressure. As we move in and identifying a few other things, this vehicle is equipped with a TAC4 independent front suspension. As we move to a few of the components for the engine, this is a recovery tank for your radiator. It should not have fluid in it, and you should not be filling from this location. Underneath the batteries is where you'll find your jumper studs, and then just right next to that, the blue cap. That's the fill location for the DEF. There'll be no additional audio from this point to the very end of your video. This will conclude the additional images. Congratulations, Great Falls, Montana, on your new fire apparatus, job number 39115. If you have any questions regarding your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.